All right, everybody. Yo, hello, happy Thursday to everybody. We're going to link in Instagram here in a moment and officially get
Oh,
the show started here. But yo, it is Thursday. It is 3 o'clock in Oklahoma City. It is 4 o'clock on the East Coast in New York. And we got, well, let's call it 9:20 because that's really what it is. And then we got Discreet over in England at the nighttime hour. So, real quick, very much quick welcome to both of our guests here from Southeast
definitely.
Sound today, Southeast Sound. We're going to be talking to you guys here in a minute, but I want to real quick just introduce not only you guys, but I want to introduce anybody that's either new to the show joining us today, or just a reminder for the people opening that door again with us. We are the We Outside live cast, and we bring a special guest on every Thursday, every Sunday, and we do a hip hop history segment every Tuesday on our YouTube channel and our social media
All right.
platforms as well. We just loaded 2 instant premieres up yesterday on our YouTube channel, so go ahead and check those out. It's the We Outside Live podcast channel. We keep the conversation organic. We keep it authentic. Anything that we're about to talk about here today has not been scripted, people. We're just going to have some
Zip.
conversation with some dope creators. And we only let people outside with us that we know that are real and authentic. So with that said, we have Greg and we have Rob from New York. Right now is where they're sitting live, Southeast Sound. Gentlemen, thank you both for taking the time to open that door and be outside with us today, because we're going to have some dope conversation about you guys and Southeast Sound, and some behind the scenes of you guys as well, as far as what you do other than the music side of things. So thank you very much. I had the opportunity of meeting you guys roughly about a month ago now, by
Yep.
way of my brother, DJ Groove, Tonio, as I know him. Other people know him by many different names, but shout out to Groovy Hospitality. And we did a dope event together in Fairfield, Connecticut. It was a release for a Porsche event, specifically the Macan electric vehicle came out, and we were doing an activation for them at Esh Mediterranean. Shout out to them. They had some dope food. It was a vibe that night, and y'all very much provided a big, big part of that with the sound, with the lighting. So, with that said, I fucks with you guys. Groovy Hospitality fucks with you guys. So we need
Mm,
to get you outside and have a conversation and get to know you guys a little more and introduce you to not only Discreet, is Discreet's a DJ as well,
yep.
but also to all the other outsiders that's with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Greg first, and then Rob, you could jump right in after Greg's done. But kind of just let everybody out here know who you guys are, what Southeast Sound is all about, and why you guys do what you do, and we'll just flow from there.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? I'm Greg, the owner of Southeast Sound. I don't know. I messed around with music, gosh, back in high school. Some of me and my friends, we got a couple speakers, couple tables, just screwing around, and we did a couple Sweet 16s, and it was a great time. It was just the energy there, the energy that we were doing there. It's just like there's like an adrenaline rush you get when you're DJing, right? Like you get
Oh,
like this
definitely.
like you get like this vibe that you're just like, that's so sick. I got to drop the next song, and then just watching the crowd go
Definitely.
crazy. It's so cool, So
Mm,
I got into it that way. Then everybody went to college, all that stuff like that. So we kind of fell off there. But then we went to me and Rob actually started working for this another DJ company, and we just did it back and forth and kind of fell off there again. But then we were like, why don't we just start our own thing? And we started our own thing, basically just doing like little private events, everything like that, bars, all that stuff. And then and then we went to now we're kind of more or less like the private event wedding type DJs. That's kind of what we're about right now.
oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Rob. I've been working with Greg for a while now. I got into this probably about 23, 24 years ago when I was getting out of high school. I always liked music. I happened to go out with some of my friends one night, and we were just checking out the DJ, and I was like, "Yo, this is interesting. This is
Mm,
cool." And there was a fight in the bar, and the DJ ran away. and I happened to be friendly with the guy, and I was standing there, and the song ended, and it just came natural. I just hopped in, threw a song on, and the dude came over and was like, "You're hired," and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" And one thing led to another, and I mean, it was great. Back then, we were working with it was like a little bit of records, but mostly CDs. So I mean, it was crazy. Used to carry these crates of music around, and then we went to computers. I started working with a different company. I kind of went out on my own for a little while. It just, to me, it wasn't worth it. I was looking at other avenues, and then I hooked up with Greg, and we were working. Like he said, he was working for another company, and then after that, I mean, now I'm working full time. Seems like full time, working with Greg, and I mean, it's an experience. It's truly an experience. I tell everybody that you may consider this a job, but it's not a job. This is fun. We go out on a nightly basis to have fun, to make a little cash. But the main thing is we are out there having fun, and we're making somebody's day. We're going to your wedding and making sure that we give you the best experience so that you will never forget that night. And to me, that makes it worth it. The end of the night, we're smiling and saying thank you. It's worth its weight in gold. It totally is.
I love that attitude. Love it.
And that's what gets me going. I mean, some of these other companies, I used to dread it. Like I was telling Greg the other night, I was like, I used to look at this and be like, ugh, I got to go to work on Friday night. I got to go to this bar. It's going to be like a club. I'm there till 3. Like this sucks. This totally sucks. I have never once felt that way working with Groovy Hospitality, working with SouthEast Sound. Every day is a new adventure, and it's fun. Like literally, we go out and have fun. It's the most I could say. It's a good job.
I love that, and that very much resonates with me. Something that you said. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead, Discreet. Go ahead.
I'm gonna move to America and put an application in. All right.
Listen, we'll take you on. As long as, the main thing is, I tell everyone, there's only 2 rules of the night. Your problems, they stay outside this room. The second rule, you need to smile and have fun. If you're not smiling, it's a bad day. You got to smile.
No, bro, I couldn't agree with you more. And I want to touch on something that you said. I want to jump back as well after that to something that Greg said also. And, you said about having that experience, right? Giving people this experience. And specifically, you said, in theory, not necessarily in these words as you say it, but you're essentially doing the same thing, right? Every time you go out and do this, right? Because you're playing music. But you're not, right? Because it's a different vibe of the night. It's a different experience that you're going to be providing. And I think that's important because if you can do that, then you're going to be able to do as an individual exactly what you said, Rob. And what that was to me was, the good old saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. That's the thing. If it's something you're passionate about, it's not going to feel like work, is it? It's fun. You're going out. It's going exactly like you said.
I mean, I look forward to it. Like we have a busy schedule coming up, and I'm like, it's going to be a good time. We need to get more players involved and get key players to make it successful, to see it grow. But it's a fun journey, and
it's how much you're talking about it and previous places you worked for with in the same sort of line of work. But now you've come here, and it's just like a different league.
100%.
This is a hell of a good advertisement. Because if you watching this personally, listening to you, I'm serious. If I was to live in America, I'd be looking for you guys, saying, "Can I work for you?" Because it really good.
Is. Like previously, I'd work for employers where they'd set the standard and say, well, you need to bring me X amount of dollars at 10 o'clock on the dot. You're done. That's it. The music stops. I don't care. And, working alongside Greg, maybe because the two of us literally, I don't know how long it's been, but Greg probably attest this. We've done some wild gigs together, working for other companies, and we've taken those experiences and kind of taken the good and ran with it, and took the bad and gotten rid of it, and made it our own experience.
That is awesome.
No,
And
I
Greg
think
gives me the free reign. I just run with it.
Well, I think that's important to do, right? Like you got to have what your thought and what your creation and what your vibe's going to be, and then you just got to go out and do it. You know, it's kind of like discreet, like we've heard from our brethren over at the Fresh Podcast. You know, they create without expectations, right? If it's more about the feel and just having the fun as opposed to saying, like you were saying, Rob, you got to bring this to me on the dot every single time. You're not going to get the experience that Greg was talking about earlier when he's like, you get up for that rush. Right, because you're doing the same thing every time you get up there, but it's a completely different
something you
experience
love
because you're creating something different. And I can attest to the rush that you talk about, Greg. I mean, I've not been on stage yet as many times as you've been on the turntables. You either, Rob, respectfully, but man, that rush of just knowing that you're because you are performing as a DJ. I don't care what anybody says. You are performing. You are creating an experience, and most specifically. One thing that I love about the two of you guys, Rob, you already hinted to it, and I'm going to ask this of you first, Greg, and then Rob, I want you to answer the same question that I'm about to ask. And the night that I met you guys, I think it was Greg, you specifically had said to me, about doing DJs. You're not the typical DJs of your typical wedding, right? Like you guys are going out there to create a club type of experience, just something different that you're not going to necessarily expect at your let's do the chicken dance, let's do the electric slide type of wedding, right? So Greg, what does that look like to you, and where did that inspiration come from? So I guess it's a two-part question. Again, Rob, hold these questions in your head to answer. What led you to that, and where that kind of just come from?
So I've been I follow a lot of like mainstream YouTube DJs, all that stuff like that, all around. And one that stuck out to me particularly was a guy called DJ Bar. DJ Bar he started off from renting everything and to building this extravagant setup to the point where I got married last year in August, and he came through 100%. I hired him for my wedding, so he came and did my wedding, and he just came through with everything. Just the experience you got from that, like just the experience. Rob was at my wedding, so just the experience you got from that. It was just like insane. Everything was DMX'd. Everything, the CO2 cannons were everything on point. Like it was just like it wasn't. It was a wedding celebration, but it was a party at the same time. And that's like I always say this: the DJ at a wedding is really a critical part. It's the most important part of a wedding because they are the full entertainment for the night. They make the night. And if
that music stops, everyone's heads are going to turn to the DJ. What the fuck is going on?
100%. That's like your worst nightmare.
Yeah, isn't it?
They get the motivation going, they get everything going, and it's just like it was just insane. And then on top of that, the customer service I got from Bar was just like, I called them up the night before. My venue that I booked sold me a dream basically, and they didn't do what I wanted them to do. So I called them up the night before and I said, dude, I need this. Can you add it? I'll pay for it right now. He said, absolutely, I got you. And he delivered 100%. And that's the reason I bring that up is because like that kind of customer service and that kind of stuff that happened for my wedding to make the wedding that I had so successful, it was it just stuck in my head as like that's who I want to be. That's what I want to be. Yeah. So it's somebody's perfect day, and you have to make it their perfect day. That's the way I look at it. So, but yeah.
There you go, Rob. Same set of questions to you, brother.
So you say like club wedding, we tailor everything to your need. We meet with the client multiple times before and we find out what is it that you want? What kind of vibe are you looking for to make the perfect night? And then at that point, I mean, Greg, has this passion that I've never seen before in anyone. The guy will call me if the gig is on Friday, he's calling me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with different songs that he wants to play.
That sounds like me.
Push. The guy has such passion, and and it shows in what we do. But that's what we do. We sit there, we meet with you, and you say, this is the vibe. I want a club atmosphere. I want everybody on the dance floor, and I want them to stay there all night. And that's what we deliver. We make sure that we put everything into motion so that you have a seamless night and you get exactly what you've asked for. Because if you don't get exactly what you asked for, you're not going to recommend me to somebody else. We're not going to grow. We're going to fade away. We're going to be your average DJ. We are not your average DJs. We are above and beyond that. We bring the club atmosphere outside the club. We bring it to your private party. We bring it to your wedding. We bring your low-key event. If that's what you want, we'll bring it wherever you want. We'll bring your corporate event. We'll take your corporate event from the bottom, from boring, and we'll hype it, and we'll make it top of the line. We'll make it a night that you'll never forget. You just got to let us do the work. You just got to communicate to us, tell us what you want, and we'll run with it.
And I think that's important, right? Like everything you talked about, customizing that experience. Greg was touching on it from the overall customer service experience standpoint. Both his experience that he had with Bar, but as well as what you guys are delivering from that customer service experience as well. And I think
there's nothing scripted,
right? Like, and I think if you do all the right work up front, and you talked about asking the right questions, what do you want? What do you not want? Like, just tell us what you want, paint that picture, and we'll make it happen for you, right? Like once you get to that night, if you've prepared like an artist, like a producer, you guys are kind of putting a live track together. That's exactly what you're doing. You're putting a live track, a live performance together as an artist based on what, essentially the way I look at it is the wedding party, the people that you're dealing with, that whoever's event, corporate, wedding, small venue, whatever the case is, they're the producer. Right, they're the producer, and you guys are the artists that now have to go deliver this live track that they're looking for based on what their vision is. And I think for some people it's a challenge to do, but again, it comes back to if you do the right work up front, you're not only going to be solid, but it's going to be a great experience not only for the experience that you're delivering that night, but there's going to be very little to no stress for you guys when it gets to that performance.
Correct. Right? You're putting on the show. You are the star of the show. It may be your wedding, but I'm in a sense, Greg and I are the stars. We're making it happen. So as you're DJing, and some people don't even realize it, there's people looking at you. There's like 10 people at any time.
I was
looking over
when I've been at weddings, I've always wanted to take notice of the DJ, just to see him, see his appearance, see what he looks like, see how his demeanor is. I don't know why. I've always wanted to do that. I always want to see who the DJ is.
We
not
did
necessarily
a wedding and Groovy did
everyone wants to look at the DJ.
And Groovy was scratching for probably 15 to 20 seconds, scratching between songs. And I shit you not, there must have been 20 people that gathered in front of us just to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And for me, to be standing next to Groovy and to stand next to Greg and the three of us there and just watching what was going on, it was an experience. All eyes are on us. All eyes are on Groovy. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because, it is an experience, and there's a reason to the question, who is the star? Even at a wedding, it may be the bride's day, but the DJ's are the star, bro. And you got to come correct. You got to come correct to deliver on that. So let me ask you a question, because most experiences are great, right? Hopefully you guys haven't had one of these experiences, but if you can, what talk about a scenario where, if you guys have dealt with it, where it was that customer like experience from hell, right? Like it was not even necessarily from hell per se, but just one of those challenging people, from the sense that you did all your legwork. You had those pre-meetings, you knew what was expected, but then all of a sudden they either like threw a wrench or like they changed it. Talk about maybe the not so fun experiences.
Have you had an experience where, there might be a real drunk person there and they're ruining the show or something?
Hey, Greg, you should tell them about the ice incident.
Oh, Greg, you should tell us about the ice incident. Apparently,
Yeah,
so
you
let's
should.
hear it, Greg.
Oh no, so that wasn't. So I wasn't even DJing for that. But
He
we
was just
were.
there. It was me and another guy DJing.
Yeah.
Greg was there hanging.
It was at a. This is why I like bars. I just don't like bars anymore. I just don't like doing them.
I hate bars.
Yeah, I hate them.
I think
Basically it was we were DJing for this bar, and there was a guy that worked with us, and the owner didn't like the music he was playing. He liked more of my style, club, EDM, all that stuff like that type music, and that's not what the crowd wanted. The DJ was reading the crowd. That's not what the crowd wanted. But he just didn't like it. He wanted that club style atmosphere in his bar, and he started throwing ice at the DJ.
what?
Oh, it was horrible.
The
I came
owner
back
started
from the
throwing ice at
bathroom.
the
I was in the
DJ.
bathroom, and I came back, and he's pelting ice at
Was
my
he a bit
college.
drunk?
Oh, he was always drunk. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
the guy's
yeah.
sober.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I came back and I was like, "What is going on?" And Greg's like, "Yo, he's throwing ice," and I ended up having to I had to confront him and be like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Dangerous.
Like,
That'll cut you.
yeah.
So that was that, and like I think after that we just stopped doing that bar.
Yeah,
in general, because it was just like it was disrespectful, you know. It was just wasn't the atmosphere that anybody's looking for. And honestly, the music he was playing was good. Everybody liked it. It just was not the owner's style. But when you played that type of music that he wanted, everybody was like, "What are you playing?" You know, like
yeah, we were enjoying ourselves.
yeah.
No, you're spoiling it.
So I think that goes back to a good point. It's like DJs have they have to read the crowd, so they have to see what kind of crowd they have, and like they have to read the crowd, and like you got to trust your DJ. If your DJ's reading the crowd and he sees that people are reacting to this style of music or this type of music, then that's what you got to go to. Some people like to micromanage that and just like be like, no, you got to play this, and it's like, no.
I always find as well, there's like a couple tracks that I don't like personally, but I know for a fact they'll get a dance floor going.
Yep.
And I'll give you this one track in particular. It bugs me because I know I've got to play it, but it gets on my nerves now. Is Black Eyed Peas. Tonight. Oh, tonight's going to be a good night. You know that one?
Yep.
Oh God, yeah.
Fed up with that track,
Tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's gonna be a good night.
It's going to work at a wedding.
Up your
You know what I mean?
Mazel tov. Yeah, that one.
Honestly, I'm fed up with that song, but I know it would work.
Yep.
All right, I got a question for you guys since we're kind of like on this topic a little bit, talking about reading the crowd, the feel, right? Yeah. How do you guys, both of you, how do you guys as artists, as performers, what are you looking for, if anything specifically, or what are you looking for, or what are you feeling for, right? As far as how you want to start to lead the crowd in a different way, or if you got to change like a vibe up, if you will. Talk to me about what that experience or process is kind of like for you guys, if you could.
So with like weddings, like we get like a whole you get to log on to this online planner. You can add songs onto this online planner, and you can actually listen to the songs live on the planner. It's really cool. But we kind of base most of what we're gonna do on the songs that they put on the list. So if there's a lot of it won't even just be the songs they put on the list, like on their must plays or play if you can or anything like that. It's based on the genres that are on there too. So we expand past that and we build a custom list basically to that. Your songs that you wanted, the songs that you wanted to play, but then also the genres around that, and we kind of build a list to that. So there's a lot of pre-planning that goes into this stuff like that. But I think the bride and the groom, they know their crowd the best. They went out and they partied with them. They went to clubs and they the bars and everything, and like they know what everybody dances to. Yeah, that's really honestly. But then like you can always go back to your like the like the naturals. There's always like I feel like every year there's like maybe not like a new, it changes a little bit, but there's just a wedding playlist, and every wedding I feel like has these same songs, and everybody loves them.
Yep.
So there's just many different ways. There's many different avenues you can do. On my Serato, I have like I can't even tell you how many different crates filled with like different types of genres and
certain songs don't fail.
Yep. I have a peak hour playlist. I have a wedding 1, wedding 2. Those are just like openers. Like I have different things I could try inside of those. And once I get them on that feel, that crowd, I was like, all right, now I know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I think it's also the beat of the music. Like you can't go from 130 beats a minute down to like 80 beats a minute. You know, you have
can if
to.
you're good enough.
Well, yeah, if you're really good at what you do, you can get it. But you know, from your day to day, you got to figure out how to go from 130 to 80 because here I am playing 130 beats a minute, and the requests that just came in are 80 and 90 beats per minute.
Yeah.
So now you got to like
in a
think
club situation that don't really work. I don't think if you're in a club.
It's like how do you do it? Now you got to think. Okay, how am I going to go from this to that, and how am I going to get there? And getting there, how am I going to be successful? How am I going to keep these people on the dance floor and play the music they want to hear, but still keep them and then go back to where I need to be?
That song you're bringing in has got to be something that everybody knows because you've got to do something like an echo out or something when the BPMs are so different.
It's crazy. Like literally, you sit there and you're like, okay,
spin back.
Like I remember, when I first started, the first thing that they taught us was to count the beats, and you'd tap your finger on the table or tap your foot, and kept with the beat, and then that's how you would figure out when you needed to rotate was based on count. Now the computer does it for you, makes it
exactly.
But it's wild. It's just wild. You want to play to your crowd, and they want to hear that song next. They came up to you like they're like, "Yo, I want to hear it." And if you don't play the next 5 minutes, it's like, it could be life altering to some of these people, depending on how much they've drank.
That is a great segue. Hold on, Discreet. Hold on. That's a great segue to my next question. When you have those people as a DJ who are nonstop coming up to the booth, play this nonstop. What's been maybe the best course of being able to handle that type of individual for you guys both? Because I know enough. I've never DJed myself, but I know enough, and I've been around DJs enough to know that it happens, and it happens all the time.
The faster you put that money in my hand, the faster I play your song. Just kidding.
So there's 2 parts that I actually like. I'm just going back to weddings because that's private events, weddings. That's because we primarily go for now. But there's 2 points to that. The first one is we ask that on our planner, our guest request, okay, and then you have like 3 options. It's like yes, no, or it's like it's up to the DJ. So when we go through some of our meetings, because we have an initial meeting, and then we have a week of meeting with the client on Zoom or whatever, where we go through all the songs and stuff. We ask them about that again and see what they say. Where if they say yes, guest requests are okay, or if the DJ, if it's up to the DJ or whatever, that's why like it's always great to have an assistant with you, like Rob or somebody else waiting the lights, because like, and I'm sure you heard this from Groove and everybody like that. It's a pain when you're trying to mix or you're trying to do any of that, and there's somebody in your ear trying to play a song, and now you missed your cue point. So it's like that's why it's great. So like when I'm DJing or Rob can take over and be like, hey, what's the song you're looking for, whatever. You can write it down on his phone and then tell it to me later when I have a free moment. So
that sounds like a good idea. I've always thought that, because if I done a massive DJ set, I would want a little break here and there, and I that's what I thought of, getting a little assistant, not a little, sorry, but little in there, someone who can just step in and take over the mix for 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, No.
Well, I like what you said too, because that, from a timing standpoint, right? From a timing standpoint, I kind of equate that, like if I'm in the booth dropping a song and I'm waiting for my drop to happen, right, at the beginning of a track, and then I got the engineer in my ears starting to be like, do it like this. Motherfucker, you should have told me that before I start. Like, I'm waiting for my timing. Stop fucking talking to me,
too
bro.
late now.
I'm here to. So I can appreciate that in that context as well, because when you're a real DJ like you guys are, like the Groovies of the world are, like Discreet is, timing is everything, especially when you're doing a live performance. And again, we talked about it, mentioned it earlier, Discreet. You're like, yo, if the music just stops, everybody's turning your fucking head. And I don't care what happens. I don't care if it's the DJ's fault or not. Let's be real. It's the DJ's fault. That's just the fact.
Yeah.
No matter what. No matter what.
It's always going to be the DJ's fault.
We are always in the wrong. We're always in the spotlight. Everybody looks at us.
Yeah, that's where the music's coming from.
Be bad, and they're still gonna look at us.
Isn't it?
Like the waiter could have dropped the plate, and they're still gonna look at us.
Isn't it?
I know.
That's
like, go back to the thing about the two different BPMs. To be honest, I find that there's a mix for every situation, but it's like you say, it depends on the atmosphere and where you are. But I always feel like if the BPMs are totally different, that track you're bringing in, everyone's got to know the song you're going to bring in, because you've probably got to do something a bit different with the mix, if you know what I mean. It's timing as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And again, this is gonna be another question for very much the both of you guys as well. What's your favorite thing about DJing? What's your least favorite thing about DJing? Or not even DJing. Let me give you that question again, respectfully, about what you guys do, because you guys are creating experiences. I apologize. I fucking insulted you guys there, because you're not DJs. You guys are experience makers. So as experience makers, which a part of that is DJing, what's the least favorite thing? What's the most favorite thing about what you guys do as experience makers?
I think anybody who knows me knows that the setup is, when it's all done and when it's set up and when it looks on point, that is like my favorite moment. I love the setup. I love when the setup just looks good. Everything's working perfectly. It just probably my least favorite thing is the breakdown, honestly, out of everything. Just loading it back up into the truck. But like, just when the setup just looks perfect, it's like it's that envision that I had for that person's day. Because like I said, like you guys said, it's an experience. You get an experience with us. So if the experience doesn't match what I said, then what am I really? So
very good point.
Yeah,
very good point.
And then it's the DJing part. I love the DJing part. I love getting up there and just the crowd, just looking up at the crowd, just seeing a packed dance floor. I love that. But yeah, basically, pros and cons of that, basically.
There you go. Rob, what do you got, bro?
I think for me, the pros, my favorite part is the performance. I'm a people person. I love being around people. I love interacting with people. Like, I'm the type of guy that when we get started, if people aren't engaging, I'll leave Greg back there and I'll start walking the tables. I'll find that old lady who's sitting there who looks like she wants to get up but doesn't have the courage and be like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll grab the microphone and just start doing shout outs on the floor and partying with everybody. Like,
just get everyone encouraged.
Yeah, totally. Like, I love every minute of it. Just being out there, interacting with our clients, to me, is great. The setup, I love setting up. I don't know what it is, but I enjoy the setup. For me, the worst part, I have to agree with Greg, is it's not even the breaking down. It's when we've gotten back to home and we have to offload stuff away.
That's official.
Yeah.
That's officially the end of the
brain is
night.
fried. My body, I feel like I've worked like 20 hours. I can't even stand up straight.
Yep.
You know, and all I can think of is, all right, it's time for bed. And I'm like, well, no, I still have half an hour to offload this vehicle and put everything away. And you have to put it away right. Like I can't just throw it in there. I have to put it
Yeah.
where it goes.
Oh, and yeah, it's this delicate equipment, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd be so.
Oh my God.
Oh, right. I probably wouldn't let any old person just touch my equipment. I'd like Pacific people are only allowed to touch this, right?
But to me, it's the performance. It truly is the performance, and I think that's one of the things that makes me good at what I do and makes Greg good at what we do. Is we make a performance. We put our heart and soul into this to make sure that everybody has a good time and to make sure that we have a good time, and we roll with it. And it's the coolest thing when I can be out on the floor doing what I do best, and Greg's behind there and he's spinning around and he's spinning the tunes and he's switching back and forth. And I'll make a comment on the mic to get people going. And before I can even think about it, Greg's already on the other mic going, yo, what's up? And like almost like we're battling each other, but at the same time, he's got half the room hyped about what he's talking, and I'm contradicting him with the other half of the room, and we have the whole room engaged in what's going on, and it's awesome. I can't say enough about it. Like,
I tell you what, you've sold
really
it to me.
passion.
You sold it to me.
And I think in addition to that, one thing to know, right? Because you guys are individual performers, but you perform in certain situations like you just discussed, if not the majority of the time, as a group duo, whatever you want to, whatever phrase you want to give it. I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it to you guys in your certain scenario. And is ultimately this that I'm going to mention, is it something that came naturally to you guys, or is it something that kind of just worked itself out over time? And what that is chemistry. You have to have the chemistry, right? So ultimately, is that something that kind of just naturally happened with you guys in the relationship that you guys already had? Did that translate over to being experienced makers and working in that tandem, or is that something that over time you guys have kind of like fine-tuned, or maybe is it a combination of the two as well?
All right. That's like I don't know. I think that things come naturally if you work hard enough. And I think that's what you really have to focus on. Did I get behind tables and start being like, oh yeah, I can do all that? No, it took me a lot of time to actually really figure out what every button does and what everything does and every little mixing thing. A lot of research too. Like it's not just like playing around with it. Like if you find the research that helps you improve in many different ways, you could be doing something the wrong way the whole time, but it's better to troubleshoot it that way, go back. So yeah.
Like I can tell you, there's a reason that I'm still in this industry working with Greg. And like I said earlier, I've worked with numerous different companies. I've worked with DJs that were in their 70s. I worked with one guy who did it with his wife. I think she was almost like 75, 76. Like
good.
They had their sets. I've worked with people that were my own age. I now work with somebody who's younger than me. Chemistry is everything. And one of the reasons why I took a hiatus from this industry was the chemistry wasn't there. The people that I worked with, it was a business. It was day to day, this and that. You had your job, I had my job, and it didn't work well with them. It was boring. And then I worked with the company, and we hired Greg. I'd been friends with Greg since we were kids. Hired Greg to come work with us, and immediately Greg became my partner. And I mean, I can tell you one of the first gigs we did, and it was great because I remember we started. I was DJing, and Greg's like, "Yo, I got an idea," and I'm like, "All right, let's see what you got." I don't know your comes from a hole in the wall, but let's go for it. And we fell on our faces quite a few times. There was
That's
plenty,
how you learn.
tons of ups, but to me, the chemistry that I had working alongside of Greg was there. It was fun. It was like,
Yeah.
he was my partner in crime to the point where I would tell my boss, listen, that's the guy we're working with him. If we're splitting up and doing gigs, I'm going with Greg. You can
Yep.
take the other two guys and run that direction. Because
Mm.
it wasn't working. But working with him, like we kind of fed off each other. Like I was saying before, he could do one thing, I could do another, and everything just flowed. And you could talk to some of our clients that'll tell you, like, wow, you guys create this experience. And that's why when Greg went out on his own and started this company, and we were talking, and for months, Greg's like, you're coming to work, you're coming back. And I'm like, hey, you're funny, man. I'm done. I'll come, but I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with it. And he started harassing me, and we started talking. And I was talking to my wife one day, and she's like, "You're an idiot." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You used to always tell me about how much fun you had working with Greg, and now the opportunity is here, and you're like, no." And I'm like, "All right, fine." I was like, "I'll go back. I'll do one gig." So I signed up with Greg, and we went to a gig. And I told Greg, I think it was the week after, I said, I dreaded for the week of that gig, going to that gig. Like I was like, ugh, like God, I'm
Yep.
really doing it again. I'm really coming back. I didn't like the drive wasn't there because I remembered what I had left. And I was like, no, I'm done. When I left that room at the end of the night, I couldn't wait to come back. So much fun. And we had some issues that night. Some things didn't go as planned. And we bounced back and we had a blast. And the client was happy. At the end of the night, they couldn't thank us enough. And we all had a good time. And I was like, all right, when's the next gig? What are we doing? I said, we take this business and we go. The opportunities are endless. Let's do it.
Get and
what's up.
run.
Moral of the story for me there is always listen to your wife. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But all kidding aside, I literally
always right.
I literally, Rob, no bullshit, bro. And this goes for the both of you, as well. The other Rob out in England and Greg. I literally have a running tally. It started out as a joke, but I am up to 1,201 reasons as to why I need to listen to my wife. And every time something new happens, it literally goes right on the fucking ticker. That's just my memory now, bro. So all kidding aside, the real moral of the story that I got there, if it feels right, do it, right? If the universe is telling you to do something, fucking do it, man. But also, everybody, listen to your wife.
But it was funny because we came into this and I was like, oh, I really don't know. And she's like, just shut up. Just do it. And then I went out and I came back and I was like, dude, it was just like when I left working alongside, and literally going forward. I mean, we've done so much in such a short period of time. We've grown, we've expanded. I mean, it's endless and it's going to be endless. I mean, we're going places. We're going to
this
make
is beautiful. See, this is what I love about this show. Call me biased, right? Because it's our show, Discreet. But the next question literally just popped in my mind from what the fuck you were talking about, bro. And my question is to the both of you, speaking about growth, speaking about expansion, where does this road lead? Where does the road for Southeast Sound lead in the future? What are we doing with this, gentlemen? Because I know, and we're going to talk about briefly what you guys kind of do as well, because you guys don't only serve as experienced makers. You guys serve as other things as well. We're going to touch on that. But right now, while we're still talking about Southeast Sound, what does the future hold for you guys?
Oh, those possibilities are endless. I could I don't know exactly yet, but I have a plan, if that makes any sense. So
Yes,
I just don't know where all the pieces fit right yet. So like I just, there's something that I want to create that would be different from every other person that's trying to do this out there. And I don't I have an idea of what it is, but I don't know exactly what it is yet and how it fits. So,
Mike, doesn't that sound like a lot of what ideas we've got? We know it's just not. It's not manifested yet.
yeah, yep.
Isn't it?
And even working with Groove, I mean, like we just talked about that Porsche event. Like that was like the best thing, because he's taken me out of my normal comfort zone of like what we were creating, and put it to like a whole different experience. Like there's some things he's like, I need to like this, and this, and figure out how to do it. And I'm like,
Awesome.
oh, okay. And then it like just everything, the wheels start turning. You're like, oh wow, we take this and do this, we can do this. It's like just different cool stuff. So it's we're going. We're gonna keep on going. We're not gonna stop. We're just gonna keep
Do
going.
not.
Fucking love it. That's fucking
Listen, I think you're gonna see. You haven't seen the end of SouthEast Sound. I think in the next coming years, you're going to see a lot more of it. You're going to see a lot of growth within. I see a lot of good things coming down the pike. We've met a lot of people along the way, yourself included. We've done, and Groovy Hospitality. I mean, we've met all the key players we need to meet, and now it's time to collaborate and come together and take everything to the next level. We grow, you grow, they grow, and we have fun along the way. That's the key. This business is going to grow as long as we have fun. The minute we start having fun, it's done. It's time to sell, retire, go play golf, go hang out in Vegas, do whatever we got to do.
Man, bro, ain't that true? And that's one thing that I really appreciate about the both of you. And I got that vibe, and we talked, the night of the Porsche event as well. And, respect, Rob, to what you said there about, finding the key people and the key players that fit into the puzzle that you're trying to build, right? Because, bless you, Greg, there's enough for everybody, man, right? Like if you know that there is a resource out there, whether it's a person, a company, a piece of software, a new social media platform, whatever the case is, that's overall going to enhance the experience that you're already trying to create. And if it fits into the puzzle of growing yourself, your business, whatever the case might be, well, if there's value there, bring it in, because that's only going to mean good things for you, right? And I think I appreciate that thought process that you guys have, because I think too many people in this world, whether they're working for somebody else, they're an entrepreneur, not, like, at the end of the day, even if we work for other people, in some way, shape, or form, we're an entrepreneur to an extent. We're just on different levels as people and entrepreneurs. And what I mean by that is the fact that you have to always think for yourself first and foremost, right? But if you can realize that there is value in partnerships or resources outside of your control, I think once somebody realizes that the world is truly completely in their own hands, right? Like I live by a saying, and this saying goes, I am not one of the most intelligent people in the world, but I'm one of the smartest, because I know how to utilize the resources around me, right? Like when I started, my music career, I don't know how to make beats. So what did I need? I needed a beat maker. I built a relationship with Discreet, right? Very similarly how you guys have started working, together. So like I couldn't go out and make a music track without fucking music. Right. So what do? You build a network, you build a partnership, where there's value and similarity into what you're looking to foundationally do. And I think, you guys very much have shown that you do that in a very way. And I think you very much both have eloquently put that on display today, as far as who you guys are as individuals and what SouthEast Sound and that experience making that you're offering to everybody out there is really about. And I thank you for that, because that's being authentic, and that's exactly what we're about here on the We Outside Livecast. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
And I'll say it once again, from what you guys said about what you do, like, it's made me feel like, God, I wish I could see one of their nights. It makes me want to be there.
Oh, you would love it. You would love it.
Down.
Well, Discreet, you are gonna be here in the States within the next, I don't know, this time next year for sure. It's November
Yeah.
7th, so you might be.
Yeah. Mhm.
But you're going to be here for a minute. And again, they're in Brewster, New York. I know at least that's where I've seen you guys kind of give or take base. They're not too far. They're not too far from where we're going to be, at least at some point, discreet for the time of your trip here. So yeah, we're gonna make that happen, bro. We're gonna have a good time when you're out here,
Absolutely.
bro. Man, 100%.
Absolutely.
So that's where Southeast Sound is going. Now, again, I kind of mentioned a few moments earlier that's not the only thing that you guys do, and that's another thing that I appreciate you guys, because you guys have so many different things going on in your life in addition to being the regular individual and human beings that you are on a day-to-day basis, whether it's dad, husband, whatever the case might be, right? I feel that, I know that. But one thing I want to talk about, you guys are volunteer firefighters, right? So just being able to give back. Greg, I'll throw it out to you. First and foremost, what does that experience really mean to you? Volunteering to put yourself in, and sometimes some pretty precarious scenarios. For people in some cases, which might be life-saving type of experiences as well. Why do you choose to do that?
Oh, geez. I started being a volunteer firefighter at 14. So at 14, they have this thing called the Explore Post. And it just helps you learn and learn about the field and stuff like that. You go down on Monday nights, they teach you stuff, you go through like drills and stuff like that. But you weren't actually allowed to go on calls. So then at 16, you become a junior and you get to experience. You get to go on some calls and stuff like that, and then you also and then when you become 18, become a full-fledged member. And I don't know, I just I always liked that field. My grandfather was an FDNY fireman. I had uncles and everybody as well as in the service. So that's I just like the field, and once you get into it, once you start learning about it, it just kind of grows on you. It's something, and I really like helping people. That's the main reason behind it. Just I like helping people. I can be
It's
calm
definitely important.
Good.
To be honest, it's more important than everything else we've spoke about.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's just it's an experience, and to be calm in somebody else's chaos is just. I feel like it's a gift, and it's probably anybody that can do that shouldn't waste that gift. You should go out and help whoever you can.
Definitely. No, I commend you for that.
Yeah, controlling chaos is nuts, especially when you can only control so much. Am I right there, Rob, or am I right, man?
It's crazy. Like I tell everybody who wants to walk into this field that when you're walking out that door, you're getting on that truck, regardless of what that call is, somebody has called you because they're having one of the worst days of their life.
They need help.
They need help. That's why they're calling you. They're not calling you because they're bored and they want you to come hang out. They're calling you because they have an issue, and to them it's life-threatening. To you, it might not be life-threatening because you kind of know what's going on, but to them, they're calling you because of that. They have chaos going on in their head. They need it figured out. Whether their house is on fire, whether they were in a car accident, whether somebody got hurt, and it's a drive. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. But you also need to remember that regardless of the situation, regardless of what you're going to, you come first. You have to go home at the end of the night. Listen, I'm going to do whatever I can to save somebody, to go into that burning building or to go into that situation. But you have to have that mindset to know that I have done what I can and I'm successful, which is the best feeling in the world, or to know that I've reached the limit of where I have to turn around because I have a wife, I have a daughter at home, and I'm no good if I become a victim as well. But the job is rewarding. I mean, I can tell you, I was in ShopRite one day. I was shopping for groceries, and this guy came up to me and he was like, "I remember you." and he had like tears in his eyes. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I don't remember you. And he was like, 6 months ago, you went to a car accident. My daughter was hit by a car and she was walking. And I'll never forget it because we showed up and I got out of the truck and all I saw were shoes. I didn't see her. She literally got hit. Her shoes were right there.
Fuck.
And we did everything we could for this girl and we rushed her to the med center. And she was in ICU for like 2 weeks. Her family was not very well off. They weren't very wealthy. They didn't have a cell phone. They barely had a car and they didn't have a cell phone. So one of my good friends and I, when it was one of my best friends at the time, we were managers together at Radio Shack down the road. So, and he was in the fire department with me. And I was talking about it like it was probably like the next day after the accident because we were both on this call. I mean, it was a bloody mess. It was just like everyone's worst nightmare. Like we weren't even sure she was going to make it. She went by helicopter. And we were talking about it and we said, like we realized that this family really didn't have much because the one thing that this guy kept saying on the scene is, how am I going to talk to her? How am I going to communicate? I have no way to communicate. I don't even have a cell phone. So back then, track phone was a real popular thing. So we bought him one, and I think we spent a couple $100. We bought a lot of time for it, and we gave it to him. And at that point, we didn't realize the impact we had made. We had no idea. We were two young kids.
Yeah.
We were managers of a Radio Shack. There was a bar next door. We were partying every night. We just thought we were being good people at that point.
Yeah.
Fast forward 6 months to see this guy, to have him come up and start like crying and hugging you. And you're like, it's...
Yeah, that's got to be special, though.
Yeah, it's a feeling you'll never lose. To know that you impacted somebody's life by stepping out of the norm it's great. It totally is.
Well,
but it's got its ups and downs. We go places, we do things. It's like an extended family.
Yeah.
No, I could appreciate that, Rob, because I used to, a lifetime ago, I worked in senior living, right? And I dealt with a lot of, dementia patients and stuff like that. Like, these individuals essentially, and some became like, my grandmas and grandpas, right?
Yeah.
Along the way, right? Trying to help them.
100%.
And, I think, one thing I take out of, very much your story, and Greg, what you were sharing, about your experiences as a volunteer firefighter as well. I think, especially in today's world, man, I think what I take away from that is two things. Number one, I don't care what scenario you are in as an individual. Somebody always has it worse than you. Somebody always has it better than you, right?
100%.
Just be a good
100%.
fucking human. And, number two, that leads me to just be a good fucking human being, man. Really, like if you're in a position enough where, to what you and your manager and your co-firefighter did, Greg, where you can go out and buy a track phone and put a bunch of minutes. That's a beautiful thing. But it doesn't always have to be about that per se,
no,
right?
Not at all. Yeah.
It's just, if you can't,
do
it. Go ahead, discreet.
I'll take it far back as even like, when was it? It was about 3 weeks ago, right? I seen this little worm stranded in the sun, and he was like, I picked it up and put it back into the grass just to help it. That was a worm. But you know what I mean? That's how far back I.
You probably just fucked up the world with that butterfly effect thing that you just did there. But that's another story for another show. But no, I mean, no. The point being, and you're right on the fucking head there. It's just about being a good human being.
Yeah.
Right. Good God, man. Especially in today's world. And listen, I'm gonna preface what I'm about to say with this first. I'm not gonna get political. I'm not at all. But what I am going to get is, at the end of the day, whatever's going on politically right now is leading family members and fucking best friends forever to like turn on each other and think they're the
100%.
fucking devil. Like here's why I say that. Yo, listen, everybody out there listening, we're all being taken for a motherfucking ride, bro. Like
100%.
that, you know what? And I'm just choosing the lane that I want to be in for that ride because I could only control so much, right? And I'm damn sure not going to let whatever's going outside of my control affect the relationships that I have with people. Now, if those people choose in their own moment of control and things they want to do, how they want to do it, say it, act it, yo, bro, I'm going to react the way I'm going to react, which is just like, yo, man, you stay at that fucking table right there. I don't got time for negativity in my life. You know what I mean? Like,
politics plays a big role in this industry, and it truly is sad. But I tell everyone, every new person that wants to get in this, when we meet you for the first time, I tell everyone, what you put into this is what you're going to get out.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're doing this because you have a drive. You want to be able to help people. I can tell you, we've helped people on their best day of their lives. During the middle of COVID, we used to take the trucks. They'd call the firehouse and say, hey, it's my son's 6th birthday. And we would show up with all the fire trucks, all the noise in the world. You know, in a couple of weeks, Greg and I will be doing what we call the candy cane run. We're going to take the trucks out with Santa Claus, and we're going to give every kid we find for the entire day a candy cane, and they're going to get to see Santa Claus.
Awesome.
It's awesome. So much fun. It's
about making a difference in people's lives, right? Yeah. Man, and I can appreciate that.
Smiles on these kids' faces. It's worth its weight in gold. It truly is. And even on the other aspect, I mean, people are like, oh my God, you're going on an ambulance to the same house you've been 10 times before. Yeah, we're going to pick little grandma up off the bed. But you know what? We built a relationship with grandma. Yes. She's kind of like my grandma now.
Yep.
You know, but whether we're picking her up off the bed or we're picking somebody up off the side of the street, we're still helping somebody. It's the drive. And it's not for everybody. We had a guy who joined 2 weeks later. We got a car accident. A lady had a heart attack and she slumped over the wheel. And I'll never forget, we went to go cut her out of the car at the end of the thing. We pried the door open and she fell because, you know, she was deceased and she was like stuck. This dude fell over the guardrail, puking and everything. And I was like, I don't think this is the job for you, my friend.
No.
Oh my God.
But it is. It's very rewarding. Greg can tell you time and time again. That's why we do it. It's very rewarding. Every day is different, but every day is, for the most part, every day is rewarding.
Yeah.
And there's more to it than firefighting. I mean, we go to parades where we show off our stuff. We're in competitions with each other. You know, what firehouse is better? We go to different events around the state. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just helping people. It is a giant
because well, and what I love about that, as you're describing it there, Rob, it's the general like description of creating your own lane, creating your own world that you want to live in, right? No matter what's going on around, you know, outside of that world, is it going to maybe have some kind of indirect impact, maybe direct impact? Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we still can control as individuals. It's just, and it's, you know, no different than letting those outside forces, whatever the fuck they are, we still have the choices to let that control or impact us in a major way or not, man. So I'm with you right there. And we just touched over the hour threshold. So we're going to start to wind it down. We got to get you guys to your families. We got to get Discreet to bed because it's 10:30 his time in England. And I'm gonna get into whatever fuck
dirty little stay out over there,
man.
Yeah, right.
So
I've got a busy morning tomorrow.
Before I ask my last question, Discreet, do you have any final thoughts or specifically questions that you want to ask either Greg or Rob or both of them before I ask my last question?
I just want to say, just keep doing what you're doing in both parties, the music and the volunteering, because it's just amazing. And like I said, you sold it to me with the music, your events and everything you do. So I just can't wait to hopefully get that experience myself.
Oh, we'll make it worth your while. It'll be fun.
I appreciate that.
When are we going to see you again?
Me?
Yeah, when you coming back?
Oh,
yeah.
Sooner than later, probably. I'm going to Kansas City next week for a week. We got to go do some house hunting, and I got some other business to tend to in Kansas City. But probably, I would say, if not before Thanksgiving, probably shortly after. I know I'm definitely trying to make it out for Tone's birthday, December 15th, which is going to be pretty dope. And that's also him and I are trying to do something that we can't really speak about.
Not yet.
Here.
Excited.
Yo, bro. But soon, Rob. It'll be soon. We'll be seeing each other again sometime soon. But with that question, with my last question, I'm going to put it to you guys with this, with everything that we kind of generally spoke about with both of you, with like Discreet was talking about the volunteering and everything that you guys have accomplished in your life. And most specifically with, creating Southeast Sound and building it and growing it and expanding it, just with your experiences in life and everything that you guys both have experienced. If you could only pick one thing, that has helped get you to where you guys are just right now in the moment, right? What's the one thing that you would share with people as maybe a piece of advice that's kind of worked for you guys along the way? Rob, I'm going to ask you first because I've been asking Greg first this whole show. So we're going to close up shop with you first, and then we're going to go ahead and let Greg answer that question.
What is one thing that's gotten me where I am that I'd have to say my family, truly, the pushing of my family to make sure I did the things that I wanted to do. Just traveling and pushing me to, when I got into this business, they were very supportive of it. My mother was like, "Oh, you sure you want to be a DJ 3 o'clock in the morning? It's not safe. The drunk people driving home." And my father was laughing, and he's like, "He's a kid. Let him go be a kid. We could support him, or we could, get in his way." Same thing with the firefighting. My father is a fireman. My father is still doing it, and my family's always been supportive. I say I want to do something, and they're like, "All right, well, let's see. How can we help you do it? How can we get you to your goal?" And I've always just run with it. Always. Same with my wife. My wife has always pushed me to better myself. And
good wife.
It's been an amazing experience, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I got brother Greg by my side.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. With that said, Greg, what's your reason, man? What's a piece of advice that you would share with people out there that's worked for you to help you to get where you are just today?
It's a good question.
Just if you have a dream, if you have something that you want to accomplish, just go for it, man. That's the best thing you can do. If you have a vision, just do it, but to have the support of everybody, my wife is a big supporter of me and all this and stuff. Just yeah, that's all I could say. It's just if you have something that you want to do, go do it. And you won't be disappointed, but you got to put in the work for it. It's not like an overnight thing. You got to put in the work.
Definitely.
So, even there's going to be times.
It took me about 2 years just to learn how to produce music. It does take time.
Absolutely. And there's gonna be times where you're gonna go and you're gonna be like, oh, that didn't go as well as I wanted it to, or I could have done that better or whatever. And you're gonna be down on yourself. But those are learning experiences. That's how you grow. Everybody screws up. There's not one DJ that I will talk to that says I've never screwed up, because if they are, they're lying, or they're not actually a DJ. So, but absolutely.
There you go. Accountability. And I think I'll say it for both of you guys. I mean, you both seem like very accountable individuals. And I think that has played a large role in addition to what you guys just said, following your dreams. Obviously, Greg, what you mentioned, and, the thing that's helped you along your path, Rob, your family, because I agree with both of those. And there's obviously, I only allowed you guys to pick one. So thank you for sharing, those inside thoughts as well. And no,
family grows.
Man, that's the truth. And, Discreet knows that I live by the saying as well, blood makes you related, loyalty makes you family. So,
yeah, definitely.
Because
that was a good question, Mike.
Well,
you know
thank you.
what you said. What is it that helps you got you where to? Do you know what it is with me?
I would like to know.
Disappointment.
Yes.
Disappointments. My disappointments in life is what made me suddenly get to where I am now. I think I
Well,
got
see
fed
what I
up
love.
with being disappointed.
Well, what I love about that, Discreet, is there's people that today are in your scenario, right, feeling disappointed, right? And
Yeah,
there's some people who are just going to sit there, and it's going to be the woe is me, and they're just going to sit there on
exactly.
the negative Nancy,
Mm.
train and blah blah blah. But there's also people out there like you today as well who's going to say, well, you know what, fuck it,
Fuck
I'm
this.
done with.
I'm going to change things.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to change. So that's a beautiful thing. Everybody has their own different motivations or drives or reasons. And that's, again, the beautiful thing about surrounding yourselves with good people and people that are different than you, because you're going to learn, you're going to get cultured from people that are different from you, or move differently, or in a different industry that you are in. It's all about just learning and growing your mind as well. And I think that's going to help people grow themselves as individuals. So I subscribe to everything that each one of you all
100%.
said.
I'm
I'm
excited for our future.
bro. I'm excited for your future too, and how Groovy's gonna play in with that as partners. Bro, I know that collectively we're gonna be doing some dope ass shit.
Guaranteed to get better.
We already have, and it's gonna keep on going. So I'm excited to be working with you guys. I'm excited, privileged, and honored to know you guys.
Same here.
And
Definitely same
man,
here.
for your individual
Privilege
brand,
meeting you.
I mentioned, I'm excited to work with you guys from the Groovy Hospitality and just in general going forward. But for you guys as a brand that is Southeast Sound, I'm very excited to see what that brand growth is going to be. And we're going to make sure that we share your stuff on this live. Eventually, this live is going to make it to our YouTube channel as well. We'll put your information on there. And I'm going to say it right now. Any of my family, friends, fans, if I got any out there in the New York City metro area, y'all need to call Southeast Sound for any of your needs, weddings, small events, corporate events. It don't matter. They got you covered. I've experienced one of their events. I'm not just saying it. Trust me. Give them a call. Let them take care of your next event. You will be very happy, and you will thank me. You will thank me.
Thank you for that.
Most definitely. Do either of you have any final thoughts before we let you guys get back indoors with your family for the rest of the night? Any final words of wisdom or anything in general that you just want to say before we get off here?
I would just tell everyone, you'll never work a day in your life if you're having fun doing what you're doing. Find what makes you happy and run with it. I will promise you.
There you go. Absolutely. There you go. Thank you for those words, Rob. Greg, any final thoughts that you want to share with the outsiders out here today, bro?
If you have something you want to build it, just do it. Follow your dreams.
There you go. Absolutely. Appreciate that. Drax, you shut the fuck up. Discreet. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to share? Yeah, I definitely did not ask that motherfucker. Do you have any final thoughts, Mr. Discreet, that you would like to share with everybody out there today before we close the door?
Just what Greg said. Do whatever you want to do, because as long as you've got the passion for it, you can do it. If there's a point where you get to and you're like, oh, I don't know about this, actually, I can't be bothered, you haven't got the passion for it. So just, if you are truly passionate about something, see it through and do it.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And I will just simply say this, and then I'm going to sign off. I am very much waiting for my next experience to be made by Southeast Sound. And that shit is coming soon. So that's why I'm leaving it today. Y'all, thank you for your time. Y'all have a good rest of your day. We will definitely be linking up soon. Discreet, I'll probably talk to you today or tomorrow, brother.
Yep, definitely.
All right, man. Y'all be well. Have a good rest of your Thursdays.